And you'll be able to, I'll just interrupt us. So Simon Schuster is the publisher. Yeah, so pretty big deal. But, you know, my agreement with them is anything that I interview or record, because I'm going back in my life and finding people that inspired me. You may not think you did, but you did. And so did Tom, so did Mr. Honowitz, so did Mr. Honowitz. So,
well, he inspired everybody.
yeah, I know. Yeah,
Really.
whether you liked it or not.
Yes, you're exactly right.
But anyway, go back. I'm sorry to
All
interrupt
for
you.
the better, by the way.
What's
With him, it was all for the better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's part of the story too. So I just make sure
Okay, good.
we're going here. But anyway, you get to see anything that I write. I'm just saying, and you may be invited to Good Morning America. We're hoping with Robin reading the book. You know, some of my inspired.
For your sake, I hope so.
I do too.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you stopped doing surgery because you didn't.
I may have mentioned to you that I've been doing surgery since I was a kid.
Yeah.
I remember during my residency, I'm in the operating room, and down the hallway in the same operating theater, a young kid, 26-year-old, was having a very minor foot surgery. Very minor. Big, strong guy. He died. On the table. It was an anesthesia problem.
Right.
And he threw an embolus of some sort. Boom, he was dead.
Yeah.
No one ever forgot that. You were there. I mean, I've spoken to guys that went to residency with me. Everybody remembers it.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a day that went by when I didn't walk into the operating suite when I didn't consciously or subliminally think about it.
Right.
This was the misconnection.
Yeah, you found it.
Anything to drink for you?
Now I can have some.
Yes, you can.
Okay. Start with just some tea.
Tea? Do you want black tea or green tea? Black tea, green tea, we've got some black vanilla.
Whatever color you want. And when you getting something to eat,
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get the garden salad.
Garden salad.
Yeah, please.
why don't we make 2 of those then?
Sounds good.
All right?
2 garden salads
Easy,
and some
yeah.
green tea? Green tea?
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Oh, green tea?
I'm drinking coffee. I'm a
No,
coffee.
just the tea.
Just
My hearing is finally gone.
Yeah, please. Sometimes I have to lean this way. It's horrible.
When my hearing started going, I was in my 60s. And my ENT doctor, the one doctor at the hospital, said to me, look, most men start losing their hearing in their early 60s. It's very normal.
Right.
And they lose the higher decibels. So initially, your wife will be the first to notice because you don't hear it as well.
Right.
Women, on the other hand, start losing their hearing in their upper 60s. And by the way, they lose the lower decibels. It's called self-defense.
Okay.
They can't hear the husbands can't hear them.
That's Mother Nature.
And you know what? I believe it.
That's pretty funny. Wow.
But anyway, I was telling you about surgery. I had 6 cases my last day in surgery. I walked out of the OR. The OR staff,
Right.
knew them for years. It was like a celebration.
Right.
I get into my car, I start driving home. I'm halfway home on the expressway. All of a sudden, I had this physical thing happen to me.
Okay.
The top of my head, I felt it.
Right.
Drained right through my body
Right.
and at my feet while I was driving.
Right.
What the hell
What
was
was
that?
that?
It was a subliminal rethinking of a kid that died.
Right.
This didn't happen to me. I never stopped thinking about that. When I walked into the operating suite every morning,
Right.
is this the day when that kind of thing will happen to one of my
Right,
patients? It didn't happen.
Right.
So I got through.
Right. So, when this book is done, you'll read a section that I've done a lot of research on. Is you call subliminal. It's more subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
The subconscious mind, conscious mind, and has an incredible impact on people. And when I talk about being inspired, that young man
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
basically inspired you throughout your life. You made it through your entire life, so to speak, your professional life, without having that kind of anesthetic or any kind of event, I would imagine, to that extent. And I kind of wonder if, when you walked into the OR, you were more conscious of who's doing the anesthesia, the preparation, whether it was purposely done, a checklist or what have you. You probably made it through surgeries because you were more attentive because of that incident, because of your awareness to that previous incident. You may not be in your conscious mind right now, but it probably was there for most of your life doing surgery.
You're probably right. I was very fortunate. I really worked with good people,
Mm-hmm.
good departments, and I had confidence in them.
Trust.
And those that were relatively new to the field, which means they've been practicing for some time, but still relatively new to the field, were always being overseen by a senior person.
Mm-hmm.
And that gave me certain comfort. But again, it just,
It was an interesting feeling.
subliminal thing, or subconscious thing,
Yeah.
and it happened. They physically
Yeah.
felt it.
Yeah. Through all your body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just top, right through the,
Right through.
I mean, it was the weirdest thing.
While you
in the
were
world.
driving,
Yeah,
yeah. That's awesome. Awesome.
it was a
that's
great
awesome.
feeling.
Yep, awesome. Again, research to try and bring some of this in. Maslow, the psychologist, calls it peak performance or peak experiences, and you really don't feel those until you're in your 60s or in that stage of quote unquote retirement. And I'm finding it now. Like I'm 64, I'm 65, and I'm finding I took up skiing again, and 40 years. Got married, had kids, all that stuff, had to work, didn't have time to go ski,
Mhm.
didn't have time to surf, whatever. But luckily I got the physical okay to do that. But the experience of it is a different kind of experience that I'm finding. It's that self-actualization. Get to that point, money's not a problem, have a home, nice family. You've kind of reached that point. Is all that's good? Well, what's left in my life? And you start to experience it differently. I don't know if you're finding that or have found that. I mean, you're about 7 or 8 years older than I, but your hobbies, things that you're, like you say, it took a while for you to get into the retirement. What do you do when you're not doing
Well,
things?
that's a good question because, while I do have other interests, I'm still finding it difficult
Right,
to phase into it.
right.
Used to be a fabulous photographer. I tried, I'm not anywhere near as good as they used to be.
Okay, so photography.
Yes.
Okay, so when we sold our home in Cherry Hill 2 years ago, I had like crates of memorabilia and stuff all packed away. And then when we moved to our house in Brigantine, I'm like, now get rid of some of this, look at this stuff.
Oh my goodness.
Is that yours?
Yes.
Look at that.
Yes.
Is that yours? There you
That is mine.
and Linda said to me, well, where do you think you got, I have no idea. It was just in a bunch of,
This was the poor man's march.
oh my God.
When I went through Philadelphia,
Okay,
I was still in podiatry school. I graduated podiatry in '69.
okay.
And I would go with my Pentax Spotmatic, my 200mm lens.
Wow.
And I would be in the middle of this crowd taking pictures. It was also the same period of time, I think it was in several marches at that time, anti-Vietnam marches.
Right.
And same place, Independence Mall, and I was taking those. This one was in my office. I duplicated this.
Yeah,
It was
okay,
in my
okay,
office
okay.
until I finished.
Oh my God, isn't this something? I mean, when I saw it, I'm like, how the hell did I don't even know how it got in my stuff.
Well, I'm glad you have it.
There you go.
This
I mean,
is.
it's a little water.
What's that?
It's got little, I don't know if that's water or what that is on that.
It looks like a little water damage, but it's survived.
It's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's a nice salad.
Oh wow.
Get y'all anything else?
I'll leave more coffee when you have a chance.
Check.
What do you think?
Beautiful.
40.
What is it?
Large format, something, black and white print.
You into photography?
A little bit. I know my little bits.
1967, 68. Four-man's march going through Philadelphia.
This is in Philly.
Yeah,
Wow.
Independence Mall.
Yeah, now
Beautiful.
this
Before you were born.
yeah, now the story here is this gentleman, he was the first man to hire me as a physician assistant, PA, in 1976. Now you know PAs now, not 76. The guy took a chance on me. And the last time I saw you was 1980. That's the last time we
Yeah.
1980.
Wow.
And I found that in a trunk. So that's like 38 years ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's
It's in incredible condition.
well, no, it's yours.
In incredible condition, Larry.
It's
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Well,
like
you have it in the trunk.
Yeah,
You
in
have
the
it up on
trunk.
the wall.
It had it on the wall. It was in the trunk. Like, where the hell did this come from? Isn't that awesome?
It is great.
What a story. Yeah.
Beautiful thing to find.
Yeah.
She's no longer around for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. So you said photography, and there you go. I knew that. I knew because Linda's. I think he was into photography. That must be
Yeah.
Dr. Sherman's.
I can't recapture this thing. I've tried. And photography has changed so much.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everything's digital now.
Yeah.
Right? Pretty much.
And while I take the courses,
Right.
the weekly courses, I just can't recapture what I had then.
Well, maybe that'll inspire you.
I don't know, but it's a great story.
Great story.
And I still have this one.
Yeah. Oh my God. Huh.
Very good.
Hey, you want
Thank
to put? Oh, yeah, no, you want to put it back in there. So.
Thank you for reminding me.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, huh? Oh man.
So what else have you been doing?
Okay. Well, let's see. So after, I went to Germantown Hospital. Was there for 8 years, vice president at Germantown. Then went to Kennedy Health System in New Jersey. Senior VP there for many years.
So
20
you were
years.
in Germantown for how long?
Let's see, 80 to 89, so 9 years at Germantown Hospital.
Okay.
I put in the subacute there, one of the VPs on the operations side, mostly on the medical staff side. It was my kind of, I think the PA thing, and that goes back to, being a PA, doing the early periodic screening for the kids, and then I think just looking at the operation, seeing, we would meet, I think, every Friday. I would come to your office, we'd meet every Friday. I don't know what we talked about, up the steps in that back little area. And I started to get a little fascinated with the management side. You were young,
Yeah.
and I was 22, you were like 32, and maybe a little younger. And then meeting Mr. Honowitz, of course. And then that was an inspiration. I got my MBA. I got it at Antioch while I still was working for you. And then the opportunity came. So I went to Germantown. I was the director of the surgical services department, administrator, and then just kind of worked my way up through the ranks at Germantown.
That's before it went to.
Before
Einstein?
Einstein. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. That's what happened. Hugh Mayer, who was the executive vice president, he became president and hired Dave Ritchie, who was a guy from Einstein over. And he and I, we didn't see eye to eye on anything. And in medical, I had a great relationship with the medical staff, like all the doctors. And see, what was happening is when he came on board, and this was in '88. He was the executive vice president over for Hugh Mayer. And he talked to the doc, said, so what do you think, Dr. Jim? Should we, I gotta talk to Dennis first. Before I do anything, here, and he was like, so
Yeah, well, that period of time, there was a transformation in all the hospitals,
Mhm.
in management. Up to that time, hospitals were run by the doctors.
yeah,
Some of them incorrectly, but
Yeah.
it was run by the doctors.
Right,
They, we were all a bunch of pompous asses,
right,
and it was a power play. It was prestige. It was
Right.
ego, and administration was supposed to take our orders. When it came down to money,
mhm,
it started changing the other way.
right,
And administrators started telling the doctors what they had to do, when to step back.
right, the equipment to buy, the
Yeah.
implants and blah, blah,
And,
blah.
and I guess there was a balance there. I guess there was a balance. I don't know, when you were brought up in the HMO
Right,
company,
right.
everybody sort of worked together.
Yeah, it was very collaborative.
Yeah, but hospitals weren't.
Right.
I remember all the hospitals back then.
Yeah, mhm,
Run by the doctors. As soon as, if you remember this, as soon as the government put in DRGs,
yeah, mhm, DRGs,
this changed everything.
right,
Before that, any cost you had as a hospital was passed on to the insurance companies.
right,
Blue Shield would pay you
Right.
your cost plus 5%.
right, mhm.
So the higher the cost, the higher the 5%.
Right, it's-
It's paid then to give
Right.
it away,
right,
not the other way. DRGs brought it the other way. You made more money the less you did.
right. Oh, average length of stays went from Medicare average length of stay were 14 to 18 days now, down to 6 and
Right.
what have you.
And the doctors like it because they got paid the same
Right,
if they read 1 EKG or 10 EKGs while the patient was in the hospital.
right,
You got paid the same.
right,
So
yeah,
it was a reverse incentive.
right,
Doctors had to step down, administrators became the bosses.
right, right.
Well, that's the way you lived through. That was the change.
Yeah. So I, did that, and then I came over to Kennedy. But I was really in the physician track, medical administration, the credentialing, quality. I wrote a lot of books on performance management, did a lot of speaking around the country. So that was kind of my claim to fame. But then going into 2006, change at Kennedy, new CEO coming in, the guy that hired me was retiring, and now we see this change coming. And I, saw it before, and it was like, I went to Dick Marty, who's the CEO, I said, you know what, Marty, he's a new guy coming in, huge ego, kind of get it, not my place, give me a buyout. And what a buyout I got.
Well, you're lucky.
Oh yeah, I got a great buyout, and so after that, 2 years, full salary, all benefits, blah, 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 crazy. I went and I met a guy in Mount Laurel who had an international consulting company, healthcare consulting. So I worked for him for 2009 to 2016, and clients all over the world. It was great. I do kind of, I don't know how to say, leadership consulting.
Mhm.
So let's say you're the CEO of I can't say that, I'm sorry. You're an executive for a large company, because these are private clients that are supposed to
Sure.
know that I'm working with. And we would do weekly calls. And I'm almost like a psychiatrist. Like they would say,
Sure.
I'm dealing with my leadership team, and I have this one exec who's doing da-da-da-da. I'm thinking I want to do this, what do you think? And I would kind of be the springboard.
Well, you have experience with that.
Yeah.
So they were looking for some guidance.
Right, yeah, and it's you do kind of do what you want, but and most of these execs are between their 40s and early 50s. So it's kind of like being a psychiatrist to them, counseling.
It's great that they're willing to listen.
Oh yeah, well the conversations I have are a little different. Like, you know what? Keep your fucking money. You don't want to listen to me, then go do whatever you want. But you're paying me, these guys are paying me $5,000 for a phone call, Like, you know, keep your money. I don't need it. I got plenty of other people that I can talk to, so you either want to listen to me or you don't, and that's fine. I'll find some. So that's how I talk. And, you know, sometimes I'll use foul language and, you know.
Why not?
And why not? You know, if you're not going to
It's sort of
listen.
emphatic.
It is. It's like, you know, whatever. So that's kind of what I'm doing. But the book that I'm writing, and we can kind of eat too. It's called Ego Synergistics, and it's a word I invented. And I'm going to give this to you.
Okay, great.
It's right now 900 some pages, so it's not a book. It's a workbook. Oh, it needs a major editing. But the difference in this is it's almost like a story where these are QR codes. So when you buy the book, you download an app on your
Yeah.
phone. And then when you get to this, when I talk about, you know, you're either going to do this or not. If you're not going to do it, then bullshit on you. I use the language. But you put that up on a QR code, and what comes up is a video of a Seinfeld episode, or just a segment of a Seinfeld. You know, like when I talk about, if you don't know what to do what George Costanza does. Do the opposite. And then you pull it up on the code, and see, you laugh. So the humor reinforces the education you go through. And then there's, like I say here, this is my father, my grandfather. Just as my grandfather said to my dad, just as my dad said to me, just as I said to my sons, do it right or not at all. You're either going to do this right, or you're not going to do it at all. So there's a little bit of, no, there's a lot of bit of me. When people say, how long did it take you to write this? I said, 45 years maybe,
What's the projected finish date?
It was October of 2017, and then it went to April of 2018. It's probably not going to be till fall, because there's a lot of editing. I'm in the last section now, and the difference in this book is, if I bring up a concept, let me give you an example. Do you meditate? Do you do meditation?
I did. I took courses.
Yeah.
Body minding?
Yeah, so mindfulness meditation.
Yeah.
I was with my sister a couple of weeks ago, and she's still working and stressing. I said, you need to do meditation, and she kind of smiled, which is typically written. Meditation, I have time for that, meditate. I said, no, you do guided meditation. And so what I say is, you need to do guided meditation. But what I say in the book is, here's where you go, here's where you download it, here's how often you use it. So it's when I talk about you need to hydrate your body. You need spring water. You need water from the glaciers. I don't say go find where you're going to buy the water. I tell you where to get it, how often to buy it, and where to drink it.
You saw where to get training for meditation?
Mindfulness. Yeah, mindfulness training. So it's not like, mindfulness is an important part of your life, to be mindful. And so I started practicing this. I'm impulsive. So sometimes I would say stuff out of my mouth and then go, oh, shit, I probably should have said that. So what happened in the training is that it triggers, and before I say, well, what's the purpose of you saying that, Dennis? Why are you going to say that? So I don't say it. So that's the whole idea with mindfulness. And it's all, but my point in the book is, I don't tell you to do things and then you have to go off and figure out where to do or how to do it. You can go Google it if you want, but I'm just telling you this is the way it is. Here's where you get it. Here's it. So the idea is the back of this, of course, is I get a piece of mindfulness training. So part of it is not only selling the book. I say to the company that does is these people that are going to buy are going to go to your company, either give them a discount. In other words, you can get a 20% discount if you incentive to do this. You can go buy it anywhere you want, but anyway, that's.
I went to courses for it. 93, 94.
Wow.
I almost died. Remember. I had some type of, I'm trying to remember what it was actually. Oh, I remember. I had a PICC line with vancomycin.
Okay.
10 days.
Wow.
On the 10th day, I was home.
Like sepsis?
Yeah.
Wow.
From Lyme disease.
Oh, Lyme disease.
So anyway, the 10th day, I think it was the day before Christmas.
Wow.
And in fact, there was a Christmas party at the office.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't make it.
Wow.
I didn't make it.
Those were historic.
Nancy came home from, I don't know if she was teaching or what, she came home and she found me unconscious with a PICC line on the
Oh
floor.
my God.
Calls 911, they take me right into Chestnut Hill Hospital.
Mhm.
They pulled the PICC line, they filled me with fluids, they sent me up to intensive care.
Wow.
The following morning, when all was relatively normal, they noticed that my speech was very slurred, and they thought maybe I had a stroke. So they wanted to do a CAT scan. They asked me to sign the consent form. I couldn't use my right hand.
Oh man.
Great for a surgeon. So anyway, they did the CAT scan, and they found that there was no stroke. And this was some type of reaction to the vancomycin.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a long time to get my speech back. I was working during that time. I would tell patients right up front. They understood. And I was also in the middle of a lecture tour.
Oh my gosh.
I still went on the lecture tour.
Mm-hmm.
These were classroom lectures with people out in the field.
Right.
And we would meet at a hotel, there'd be 30, 40 people there.
Yeah.
It was on a procedure that I developed. The first thing I would tell them is what happened. So if I start to slur my speech a little more, just tell me to slow down.
Okay. Yeah.
I went through a year of lecturing and doing that all the time and still kept my practice.
Wow. Wow.
So, but I learned after I got better, or getting better, I started taking meditation courses.
Yeah.
As a result of that.
Right.
It was given by an internist at the old graduate hospital.
Yeah.
And I got pretty good at it.
Mhm.
So I'll tell you a true story. I'm sitting Sunday morning breakfast. Now, Sunday morning breakfast was a big thing with my in-laws. And my father-in-law's there, and he makes this big spread. And my mother-in-law was getting off babbling about something. I couldn't figure what the hell. Rather than listen, I started doing what's it called?
Mindful.
Body minding.
Mm-hmm.
I started with my toes,
Right.
and I worked my way up.
Mhm. Yep.
And finally, Nancy said to me, a good 20, 30 minutes later, she says, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm just meditating." And it got me through it. And it really does work.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Now, could I do it today? Well, I don't practice it, so I don't. Yeah, I don't know. But it was great while I was
Yeah,
doing it.
right, doing it. Yeah. I do it every day.
But I don't know that you can tell someone in a book you need to meditate. I think they have to be taught.
Right. And the best way to start is guided meditation. Because like with my sister, she's smart. I said, I don't try guided meditation, and you can download on.
So with a group.
No. Guided meditation would be where you put on your thing, you find a comfortable spot, and the person guides you into the meditation.
Okay.
As opposed to saying,
someone up there.
So yeah, trying to do it on your own because your mind is like more like this. So the person said, no, like you say, relax. Your toes feel heavy, your feet feel
Yep,
heavy,
yep.
and just kind of guides you
Remember
into
it
that.
well.
She calls me the next day and said, holy crap, this is like awesome. I said, but you got to keep doing it, you know what I mean? So,
Can we
yeah.
eat a little
Oh
bit?
yeah, go.
This
yeah.
food's smelling good.
Oh man, yeah. Oh, this is nice. Oh, you don't know how I eat it.
I have no idea. My kids still text me during the day,
Oh yeah.
little things.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that great?
Yeah. But can you go anywhere without your phone anymore?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Is that great?
Well,
Hello? we're done with it. Bye.
I went skiing 2 weeks ago. Left without my phone. Up the turnpike.
You went back?
No. No, I did go back.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I mean, it was like weird without having the phone.
Yeah, you have to go back for it.
Yeah.
I know. I was reading about Alzheimer's.
Mhm.
And, there are the various theories about why and so forth. One of the things that they think is accelerating Alzheimer's are these phones,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
because you don't think anymore. You go right to the phone and it tells you what to do,
Yeah.
which sort of upset me a little bit, because I do find myself doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just like, oh, that's all those things in the home now. It's kind of scary. It's like the Terminator movie, Skynet. The big computer takes over.
Mm-hmm. So what are your sons doing then?
So my oldest is Matthew. He's 32. He's the actor. And
Where is he?
on the Goldbergs, out in LA.
Oh, he's in Goldberg.
He's in the
Oh, that's right,
Goldbergs.
you
You
told
talk,
me.
yeah. You said you knew somebody grew up with Adam.
My youngest grew up with the kid from Jenkintown. You know, maybe he was older, I don't know. How old's the kid?
No, see, you mean Adam Goldberg?
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna say in his late 40s, maybe.
Okay.
Because
So he's
his
around the
older
same.
brother is Barry Goldberg, who is a doctor, and then one of his friends, I can't remember his first name, Schwartz is the last name, is a doctor. They were part of the JTP gang, the Jenkintown. That's Matthew is.
Okay, my youngest kid
Mhm.
would be the one
Mhm.
probably, and he'd be about late 40s then.
Mhm. Yeah. Yep. So that's Matthew, and he's done a bunch of movies and.
So I'm curious, what would you find interesting, other than through the memories, about my actions in those years, Honowitz's actions
Yep.
in those years?
So I would say, I mean, again, my first job, actually the story, you may not recall, but my mother-in-law, Linda, lived on 23rd and Keene. But actually came up early, I drove by Snyder Avenue just to see if the center was there. I don't know if you've been down that way at all, but I mean, it's all closed up.
Probably not.
Yeah, it was Wilson Park Medical Center, the signs all turned around.
So Wilson Park isn't open?
No. But she lived on 23rd McKean and would walk down to the post office. Now, this is 1970, August of 1976. And she left the post office, walked down, and walked into the medical center. You happened to be there. And I don't know, she must have asked somebody, you hiring? I said, well, here's Dr. Chairman, he owns, And she said, oh, my son-in-law just graduated from Harlem, he's a PA. And you said something to the effect, oh, PA, oh, that's interesting. I'll have him, you gave him your phone number, I'll have him call me, And I met you, not at the South Philly office. You had another office uptown here somewhere. It's up in the 3rd floor or something.
Hospital.
Okay. But it was near Graduate, I think.
If it wasn't Graduate, we had a business office.
Business office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it
We
was
had a
business.
business office at the Medical Towers
Okay,
on
that's,
17th Street.
yeah, that's probably where it was. So I went there, met you there, and then I think you called me a couple days later and said, yeah, if you hire you, and I think the salary was $10,500.
It's not a lot of money back then.
Oh my God, yeah. But Linda was working at Hahnemann. She was making $8,500, Well, there was like a, of course I said, could you do better? And I said, well, work for 3 months, and if things go well, I'll up you to 12. Man. So things went well, and I was doing the periodic screening for the kids.
Right.
So I did that for a year, but probably through a year, and then also then went over to, was it 52nd Street? Over there, and would do screens over there, and then over time, I think, like I say, every Friday, I think I came and we talked, and then then it was the union. The union wanted to come in and, all the staff and what have you. And I think that's when, because when I did the screening on Snyder Avenue, Mr. Honowitz's office was right next door. So I would remember him coming in, doing something in that office and going out. I think one day I said to him, "What do you do?" He said,
Whatever you wanted to do.
yeah, I know. And he said, "Well, let me show you." And I just think over time, showed me, and I said, "Could I do that inventory?" And it must have been 2 years, like 78. He was going to go on vacation. Never took a vacation. I remember he was nervous because I was going to be now in charge. Doing inventory, going to the different clinics, making sure they had the supplies. I remember that. He was tough. He was
It was
tough.
old school.
He was old school. And
Yeah.
I think both of you, I learned the value of the dollar, money, staffing. It was, and I do remember the Christmas parties, which was another thing. I think you enjoyed them giving gifts more than the people
I did.
getting them.
Yeah.
And I think that, as a leader, this is, you asked me what inspired it, is how you treated people.
We had wonderful people.
Yeah, and that is credit to the leader who recognizes people that are talented and also puts trust in them. Hell, I was 22, 23 years old, and at one point, I think when Mr. Honowitz said, "Okay, I'm definitely retiring,"
Yeah.
it was like, okay, then this is you know. I think at the time there were 5 clinics, maybe 5 at one point.
We had a lot of
One
things,
up on
yeah.
Broadway, up on Broad Street, I think.
Broad Knowley.
Yeah, no, there's still something there.
Yeah, we're to
Yeah.
7th and
Fairmont, yeah,
52nd Locust,
yeah, and Locust, and then,
4148 Lancaster,
yeah.
25th and Snyder.
So, yeah, so how did that happen? How did it, I guess my question back to you now is,
I like it, swear.
it's, you were a podiatrist, I kind of get it, but where did it, because actually the idea of those medical centers are a little bit like what an Urgy Center might be today.
It ultimately was.
Right. So in the book I write about, and at some point I'll show you the model. I call it forward thinking like. How does someone downward think or forward think that? Is it an idea that you had or you saw?
No, it developed.
It developed over time?
Here's what happened. My podiatry partner, David, and I worked part-time for a, quote, medical center. It was relatively new in West Philadelphia. The doctors were being cheated by management, and so the doctors in turn were cheating management. It is ridiculous.
Tit for tat.
Yeah, it was stupid. So I figured I wanted to open one like this because I thought it would be, I already had a little private office, but this would be a good way to feed my surgical practice. So I went to my accountant and I said, I want to open one of these medical centers. I described to him what it was. I said, here's the deal. Here are the ways that the management is cheating the doctors who work here. And here are also the ways that the doctors are cheating the management. And they're cheating each other. I don't know how it balances out, but they're cheating each other. I said, I want to develop a way that no one has to cheat in. And I want it to be checkable. So he came up with a great idea, and that when we started our first center, the doctor signed a contract. In the contract, they were obligated to have their own attorney review the books once a year.
Wow.
They were obligated to, at their expense. And they were always open. First year goes by, these are all young guys. They send their accountants in as they're supposed to. A month later, they got a bill from their accountants. By the way, they never found anything off. They got a bill from their accountants. They don't like getting bills. They resented the bills. Second year comes around. It's time for your accountants to do the review. They didn't want to.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm getting paid. I know you're running it. I don't want I gotta do it. I don't have to pay them.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first way into it.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
I wanted to be fed surgery. We had a private office, but here was my first medical center. And I like the fact that it was
Which was the first center? Yeah.
7th and Fairmont.
Fairmont, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I figured, well, if I start another medical center and put a podiatrist in there, I'll get more surgery.
Right.
One thing fed the other,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we kept doing. So I think next came 52nd Street.
Is that where Dave? That's where David was. David.
He was there, but then we opened Lancaster Avenue, the one that burned down.
Yeah. Because we then went into the church. I remember that. Put the curtains up.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God.
And then so it was 52nd, Lancaster Avenue, Lord Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
I think 25th and Snyder stuck in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 5. Then we opened one in Jersey, on Blackwood Clemson Road.
I know exactly where that is.
Took over Roy Rogers
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and built that into a medical center.
Right.
Then we got a contract to build one, Hillside, New York,
Wow.
for a hospital, at a shopping center. We did that.
That's
We
got to
didn't
be in
know
the
that.
early '90s. Then that's got to be in the early '90s.
Coming up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember they had another spot in Secaucus,
Wow.
and they wanted us to open that one also. We went out to Secaucus and I said, this is crazy. First of all, it's obvious.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Two, it's too far away.
Yeah. Can't drive to it in less than an hour.
Hillside, yeah. Hillside was a joke because while they were building that inside a large store,
Right.
in the shopping center, we get a phone call from the Hillside Police.
Mm.
They closed it down. Some people, while the construction was going on, some people broke into it at night, brought in mattresses, and they were using it as a warehouse.
Oh, jeez.
And they closed it down. The truckers were going in.
What?
Yeah, I cracked up. I thought it was great.
My God.
So yeah, we had our share of medical centers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I actually could have made a living just doing that,
Right.
but I wanted the surgery.
Yeah.
So that's why we built them,
Right.
to feed me surgery.
Right. Right. So how did you unwind them, if you don't mind? Is it unwind? Because you kind of did an unwinding, I imagine, eventually. Or did you sell everything lock, stock, and barrel?
No, we sold them off individually, and I think we were just tired
Tired.
of doing it. The one in Broadnami went to Dr. Tversky.
Of course you had.
17th Fairmount, went to Jaffe.
Oh, wow, these names.
Yeah,
Wow.
Joel Jaffe.
Okay.
More normally, I think we just closed
Okay.
because the rent was going crazy. And they rented it to the South Philly group.
Mhm.
52nd and Lombard. Not Lombard, 52nd and Locust.
Morgenstein was there, Dr. Morgenstein.
It wasn't Morgenstein, but it was something with a steam.
Oh, gee.
Older guy.
Okay.
Carried a big, I never realized it. My father told me, you know, he's carrying a large gun in his back belt. You always have, because he was always a little fearful,
Yeah.
and he had that gun there. He eventually retired, went to Florida and practiced. He died down there.
Morgenstein.
Yeah, it wasn't Morgan's, but it was
Was it
something
somebody
like
could
that.
understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Wow. Yeah, I remember. It's funny how these names are coming back to me.
Wow, we had a good group.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of those people were dead now.
Yeah. Levin. Was it Levin or Levin? Snyder. He was there when I first got there. An older guy, probably in his
An older guy?
60s. Older 60s.
Oh yeah, he's gone by
Yeah,
now.
I'm definitely going, yeah. I mean,
He was a pain in the ass.
yeah, he was. I remember him getting me, he wanted me to inject him with testosterone. And, you know, was doing this, I don't know, I don't think I want to be doing this, you know. So I said, why don't you just inject yourself?
Yeah, well, he probably did.
Yeah, he probably did. He probably did.
Yeah, I remember his brother-in-law was a radiologist at the hospital, and I was friendly with him. The brother-in-law couldn't stand him.
Yeah. Wow. And then there was the surgeon, not Meltzer.
Dinelli.
Yeah.
Ron Dinelli
Yeah.
just died.
Yeah,
A couple years ago.
Shoot. Wow.
He didn't have a peaceful death. I mean, he died piece by piece. He was diabetic,
Man.
and he was obese, and his kidneys blew, and everything else.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
that's Ron Dinelli.
Yeah, boy.
But, you know,
Yeah. Wow.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if Joel Jaffe is still alive. He was the fair.
Yeah.
Rosenberg.
Sounds familiar.
He was at, I know, he was at 7th Fairmount. Stephen Rosenberg.
Seagrams?
And he went out to Haddonfield, way out the boulevard, Holland, New Jersey.
Okay, wow.
Or Holly, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
He opened a practice there.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
but this was a good start. Peter Frank. Remember Peter Frank?
Peter Frank, and then Adler. He,
Adler?
yeah,
Yeah.
I remember having a dinner meeting. I remember that, and I don't know what you were talking about. He got really pissed off and just got up and walked out. I don't know if you remember that. It was a dinner
No.
meeting. We had all the doctors there, and we were talking about you know, incentives and I mean, again, that's another memorable meal for me, because what you did is you brought all the physicians together to talk about goals, whatever. And Adler was like, I'm not having you tell me how to practice, and you know, and he got indignant and just got up and walked out. Okay. My first lesson in.
Well, that was fun. We didn't need you anyway.
Yeah, right. And I think ultimately, I think he left. I mean, he was. I don't know how to explain it. Like, you know, I mean, there is the care and treatment of patients, but then there's also, you know, how do you pay the bills? You have to understand that aspect of it. And I think that's what you were trying to convey to the group, and everybody kind of understood that. You know, we're not inappropriately referring patients to podiatry if they don't have a problem. And I recall that specifically from you. And I think he was reading it the wrong way. Anyway,
Yeah.
But I remember that.
Well, when we opened the first medical center, it was $4 a visit.
Yeah.
And within 2 months, there was an increase in the state. It went to 6, which is why we survived. At a state of 4, we would have survived.
Yeah.
In fact, back then when we started, things weren't even computerized.
Yeah.
I mean, the state wasn't.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to recall even like the screening stuff that I did with the kids. I mean, I think we were getting like $20 a visit for the screenings. Yeah.
That's pretty high.
Oh, it was very high.
Yeah.
It was very high. And I remember as a PA, and then I had my wife, Linda, we started making calls, and I found that, calling the parents on the phone and saying, you were scheduled for this date, please make sure you come, if you can't, call me back. And we were
That's all
cranking,
right,
we were cranking it, and I think I gave good care. I mean, these were kids, they were coming from socioeconomic situations.
I don't think you would have even thought of it. I don't think you would have been doing it if it wasn't good.
No, and actually, I remember the state came and did an investigation because of our success rates. The people coming and the kids coming and getting their screening. Like, how do you get a 60% response rate? Well, because you called on the phone, and but it was interesting.
What year did you start there?
I started the Monday after I got married.
Which was?
September 18th, 19th, September 20th of 76, 1976.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we, 76. I think we opened the first one in January 74.
Okay.
And that was Fairmount. We had lots of ups and downs. I remember the Philadelphia Tribune, which is a black newspaper, one Friday, one Friday, had a front page article about us recommending genocide. Yeah, that was probably right before you came in. Because a young kid came in with their mother. I saw Peter Frank, who was one of our first physicians, and she was pregnant, the kid. That's why the mother brought her in. And Peter said something to her about, well, what do you want to do about it? And she took it the wrong way, as if he was recommending an abortion. And she went to the Tribune, and the Tribune had this front page article about the medical center in North Philly was recommending genocide of black people. And we got through that, but there was a bomb threat that week.
Yeah.
And we got through it. You talk about that. I remember in my office, only a few years later, at Metropolitan Hospital, and a mother and a daughter came in, and she was a young kid, and she had, for her age, horrible bunions, juvenile bunions, and they needed to be fixed. So we went through everything with them. We tested her, blood test, and the blood test showed that she was pregnant. So we had to cancel it. Everything's good. Actually, if I could have some hot soup.
Yeah, I'm more coffee. I'm going to take that home.
Sure.
I can get you some boxes. You want
Yeah, please.
more hot water or a new tea bag?
Just hot water.
Just hot water. Gotcha. Get you more coffee
Yeah,
too.
thank you.
So canceled the surgery. A year later, they came back, same little and her mother, and for the surgery.
Wow.
So she reminded me, and I said, well, what did you wake up to? She said, oh, we have this beautiful little boy. And because you discovered she was pregnant, we named him after you.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
The first name is Chairman. They named his first name Chairman.
Wow. Wow.
Chairman. So if I ever run into a man named Chairman, he was
Yeah,
a
first
kid.
name, yeah. That's incredible. Wow.
Lots of funny little stories like that.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to hear some of them. I mean, one of the things that I do when I'm talking, okay, thanks, is
You want this with yours too?
that's fine.
I'm full.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm on Weight Watchers. Can you believe it?
whatever turns you on.
Yeah.
So you can have that one
Yeah,
also.
yeah.
Weight Watchers.
Oh,
Oh,
Do
okay,
what you
you
want
do
with
that.
okay, all right.
You do better.
Yeah, okay, excellent. And one of the other reasons I want to talk to you is because of your residents, working with residents. 'Cause,
Mhm.
one of the things I talk about is being inspiring like. So it's a made up word, but I add the word like. Well, let me show you. I met with a guy a couple weeks ago who's an old magician, and I showed this to him. He goes, "You know what? I can relate to all of those." So, being extraordinary. This is kind of the life of becoming an ego synergist.
Mhm.
Ego synergy is how do you, and I always say to somebody, you have an ego.
I think we all
all do. Okay. Some people are shy about it, but the idea is, how do you synergize these elements so that, as I say, out of those swirled results, you can create out of your world results. Okay? So becoming extraordinary. When did you believe or feel like you were an exceptional surgeon? How many years did it take for you you went through residency, you're out doing surgery, and I usually say, when you're extraordinary, when people call you, say, Dr. Chairman, or hey, I got this procedure that I got to do, but I've never done it before. Are you available? You can come because I trust. But how many years did it take you to believe that
Well,
you were in that
number one,
point?
I was involved with the residents from early on. And I'm trying to think what year, probably the mid-70s.
Okay. So you graduated in '69. So you're
Yeah.
talking like '74,
Did
75?
residency,
Yeah.
and 2 years after that, a year after
Yeah.
that, I was on hospice.
Right. Yeah.
But having residents and teaching,
Right.
this might sound weird, this is the greatest ego trip in the world.
Yeah.
I used to enjoy it so much,
Right.
where they mimic what you teach them.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So I was always on
On
an
that,
ego
yeah.
trip
Yeah.
with the residents.
Yeah. But let me ask, I'd say this honest, so you need to be truly honest. As an individual, being truly honest means, granted, I know you knit that sweater for me, but there's no way in hell I'm wearing this sweater at school, kids would. So when I say being humble, for example, you work so hard. Being humble is giving up your life for a cause. No, you work hard. It's okay. And here I tell the story, and I want to make sure I'm correct on this. You had a Cadillac Seville,
Yes.
but when you drove around to the clinics, you had a Toyota. You had some kind of junky car. I don't remember what it was. And I remember either you may have said it to me, or maybe I made it up. But at one point you said to me, I work hard, kind of paraphrasing. I always like the Cadillacs, okay? But I don't drive it around and show it off to people. It's something like that. And you may not recall saying it, but that's the message I got. And that's what humble like is. You can have a car, you can have a boat, but inviting people to come out and look at everybody out, come into the clinic and see these Cadillacs.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not being humble. So you kind of get the idea here. And this is where I'm at this point. And it follows this kind of a path. And you can kind of read a little bit of it if you like, but this is where I'm interested in hearing from you. And you just kind of said, working with the residents, are there, and I think the resident that called you and said, hey, I got a deal for you. Was he inspired by you? Do you have any stories where you have believe you've inspired others?
We've had several conversations, and recently we've had a lot of them. When he became a resident back in '03 and '04, his father, who was 61 years old, had died like 2 years before. Unbeknownst to me, he tells me now, that I sort of became like an advisor, a father figure. I think it's more
The John
American from Express.
I'm gonna water for everybody.
Me too.
I must tell you, it's very ego gratifying for me.
Right. Yes.
The fact that they appreciated my input
We also want to order a tea or
and thought well of
Do you want
it
the
years later is
Correct.
very ego gratifying.
Right. Mhm.
And I'll have the.
I am an egotist, so what can I tell you?
No, I don't think you're an egotist. In the definition, you're probably what I term as an eco realist. And you know, at some point when this is done, we'll meet again,
Yeah.
and I'll go through. And I think you will find story upon story where through your life these matter. And I would say now that you hear me talking about this, and you say residents will. Physicians come to me and say, you know what, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if it weren't for you.
Mm-hmm.
And all I'm saying is, be aware, now you'll be more self-aware that there are people out there that are probably saying
Oh, yeah.
that all the time.
Yeah.
And,
I just got a call a month ago from a resident that finished last year, a 3-year program. Really fine guy. He called me, he says, I haven't waited to tell you this. I just did a surgery on a beautiful woman who had a worse feet coming.
right,
And he tells me what she needed done, finding
Right,
this
right,
and that. He says, I did your procedure exactly, finishing it off exactly the way you do, because I'm crazy about incisions and scars. He says, it was perfect, it was beautiful, it was just the way you do it. I walked away.
yeah, of course,
Yeah.
and you should be. And I think that's what, when I say egoism, is feel proud, get excited, especially when we're getting our age, and you kind of look back at the legacy. Legacy, what's the legacy? Well, you have your family, of course.
Yeah.
But when you look at the residents that are now practicing physicians that are out and about and call you and say these things to you, that's not ego. That's you're feeling a sense of accomplishment, and that's what's important, and that's what this is kind of all about. What I'm hoping to be able to do is to take some of these and get them on this path now, like in your 30s or 40s, to be able to say, to become extraordinary, it's the 10,000 hour rule. I mean, it took you 10 years you know, from the time you went to podiatry school to residency to mastering your craft. It wasn't something that happened in a year or 2 years. What I find is it takes between 5, 8 years.
It's a continuous,
It's a continuous, right?
yeah.
Exactly. So, but anyway, so that's kind of what this is
Great.
about. Yeah.
Great. So what's your target?
Well, I'm looking at the fall. I've got a big presentation in November for the National Rehab Association on the book. So I got the book
So you have to
done.
put it together?
I gotta get it done. So I'm like really like writing mode. But it's not, it's me. It's
How
not
many
like,
years have you been doing it?
2006 I kind of started, but then I was doing a lot of consulting and traveling. It was hard. It wasn't, and I had the framework for it. It wasn't until I would say November of 2015. That's when I started my hair growing long.
Mm-hmm.
And I had it, you know, fitted out and stuff, but it's really, when I went offline, I had to go off the grid, so to speak, and not take as many consults and just start writing. Just writing. I mean, so it's like, write like a gerbil, because they're always.
It's a great
and then-
project.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's huge.
Well, I hope you finish it before I drop dead.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my God. Oh, my. Well, you'll have to read. I tell stories in there, like the Seville's a story, and with Mr. Harms. Do you have any pictures of him?
Sure.
I'd like
Sure,
to.
I'll find some for you.
Yeah, I'd like to get a picture of him. Certainly, before we go here, I want to get a picture of us standing together. Because, and I think that's in the book. It's like it's pictures. You know, some people say, "Oh, yes, it's a picture," but it follows a thread, and that's where the signage are saying, "Oh my God, this is like a really unusual book. It's like an autobiography, and concepts all together." So,
That's great.
Yeah, so,
Well, I'm all for it.
okay, cool.
You need to talk to Will, we'll meet again.
Yeah, I'd like to come to one of your breakfasts when you're with Dave Rose. I think that would be fun. I wonder if he would recognize me.
You wonder what?
I wonder if he would recognize me.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, probably not.
I wouldn't know. Would you recognize him?
Probably not.
Yeah. No, I don't think you're.
And your hair was like curly. I mean, that would, yeah.
I had curly and I had hair.
Yeah,
And
well,
that which,
that's where, you got hair, might as well just grow it, you know?
yeah, some of those
That's so
old,
funny.
I have looked at some of those old pictures and they are a joke.
Yeah,
They're really
yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah, if you have pictures of you with a cigar, I mean, like what I try to do when I tell a story is what I find people learn different ways. Visually, auditorily, you know, and so that's what this is about.
Well, you'll let me know what you want,
Yeah,
and
okay.
I'll look for it.
See what you got. I mean, I think that, I mean, you're the first, I mean, I've had people inspire me in other ways throughout my life. It usually happens, I guess that's a question for you, is what inspired you to go into podiatry or medicine or healthcare? It usually happens at a, typically, I call it like this age 7 or 8 trigger point. Something happens.
7 or 8?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, I call it the rule of 7. Things happen in chunks around 7. And it will continue. And you enjoy it.
Coffee or anything?
And you try to force you to think about it. You don't really remember a lot of your life prior to age 7. Around the age 6 or 7. But for me, I have a magic kid for Christmas. And that inspired me to and then one thing I was next, age 14, I had my first encounter with a narcissist. I tell the story about that. It was my first introduction to the world. It was my teens.
Was that Mr. Trump?
Okay. I want to.
I mean, you mentioned narcissist.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in a working class family. And had a little desk. It might have been 5, 6, 7. I was at that desk for years. And my father was a woodworker. Made a little shingle. Name tag was on there. It said, Dr. Edward L. Shannon, M.D.
And how old were you?
Probably 5. It was there, probably until we moved from that house at 11. That was a big thing. It was instilled in me.
Right.
The other thing was that I remember the corner family practitioners that we had over the years. I think they were the greatest. Because they always made my father feel better. He had his illnesses, and whenever we would go there, they always took time to make him feel better. I liked that.
Well, the funny, you told me that. Even to this day, not that story, but you said, I know that I take care of the patients, but more than that, when they leave, I know they feel better.
Oh yeah.
Good.
One of the biggest complaints personnel has with me in the treatment rooms,
Too much time.
I spend too much time with the patients. But that's what it was one of the things. So screw 'em. I do it.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. That's what they remember. That's awesome. That's awesome.
All right, good. Let's
Good. All right.
continue this.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna take care of all this, and oh, don't forget this.
Yes.
I'm gonna
The fries.
see if I can get on. Oh, this is great.
So now you know the history of that photograph.
The what? The photo?
I
Oh,
know
yeah,
this.
it's freaking awesome. When I saw it, I was like, oh my god, I didn't know where it came from.
If you want it, you can have it.
Oh, no.
Because I have it.
I know. You know what? Let me keep it. For now.
Yes.
I will definitely, but I'm just thinking, I'll send you a text and let me know like when you're gonna be with
David?
David. Yeah.
Okay, I will tell you ahead of time. Normally,
Right.
he shows up 7:30
Okay.
in the morning,
Right.
around the corner,
Okay.
at 20:30 Locust.
Okay.
It's a little luncheon. Another guy,
Alan Munson.
you know, Come right after
The
you.
name sounds so familiar, but that's
Vascular surgeon.
I think I remember him.
He's doing wound care now. He's
Okay.
like partially, he's basically retired.
Yeah.
David sees me, we try every Wednesday morning.
Okay.
So if you have to desire one Wednesday morning, text me.
Yeah, yeah.
I might
Good night before you.
text me, and I'll tell you whether it looks like he's
Good,
going to be
good,
here.
okay, yeah, okay, cool.
Okay.
That's awesome.
And Pat Moffitt and my wife Nancy touch base with each other all the time.
Okay.
She is not very well for herself.
Yeah, you told me she has a couple homes.
She owns houses on 2 or 3 on that street.
How long did she work with you?
30, probably 31, 32 years. She was dynamite
Yeah. Oh. And
and good. A good person.
fits right in the model. Fits right in the model.
She's in Florida now. She was in Florida.
Can we have one son?
One son, and he's successful. Not sure because he's successful. He has a house on the beach in Wildwood.
Yeah. Okay.
Now her husband died. I told you. He was angry with the Catholic Church. So then instead he swore her to a celebration.
That's awesome.
On 2nd Street in nightclub. We had a celebration.
They bring the bummers in?
No.
Okay.
I'm surprised.
They did it, yeah, I was gonna say.
But there must have been 200 people there. I knew it was a celebration. They had a big video of him talking before. It was very moving. This is how he wanted it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's a nice way to go.
Yeah, for sure. Big celebration.
Anyway,
Okay, cool.
I will touch base with you, or you touch base with
Yep,
me
okay.
when you can make it over
Yeah,
there.
okay.
Because we don't stay long.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We leave.
yeah.
I have to be in the office. You know,
Yeah,
when I work.
right, yeah.
I'm supposed to be in there by 8:30 at the
Yeah,
latest.
Wednesday, Thursdays, okay.
Okay?
Cool, awesome.
Good.
All right, man,
Bye.
go. All right.
Thank you very much. Those are good stories.
Yep.
And you'll keep me informed.
Yep, here you go. You can. This is like, this is just.
That's great. Oh, that is a beautiful sight. Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you so much.
Do me a favor.
Yeah.